I am Reggie Darden, and I've got another wonderful guest with me today, Mr. Jason Daniel Lee. And yeah, we're going to get into his story and his journey and whatever other rat holes that we decide to get onto. We will check those out as well. Usually start things off with a little bit of my background. Actually, before I do that, so this today is a big day of first. I did my first live episode a few hours ago, and now I'm already on to my second. So we are just moving right along. So if there happens to be anybody watching live, I'm not watching the chat or anything. I'm still trying to figure this out. So uh, if you send a message or something and I don't react to it, then sorry. But yeah, we're doing this live podcast recording episode for this one, so so should be a good time. So yeah, I usually start things off with just saying that in my background, I train in multiple martial arts at this point. American Kempo, Hapkido, which I guess breaking news: the founder creator of Hapkido passed away today. So that is very unfortunate, but we will continue on with the journey and the training. So so let me see. We got American Kempo, Hapkido, Capoeira, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, Muay Thai,
Nice.
and I also have some experience in Taekwondo and boxing. So I try and stay well rounded and try and get to all the items on the buffet. But so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So let's get over to our guest here. Go ahead and fill us in on how the martial arts found you. Where did it all get started? And we'll just run it from there.
Mid 80s. I was sitting there watching. I used to watch Kung Fu theater and stuff as a little kid, jump around, do all the stuff, kicking and everything. And I was just obsessed with martial arts. And then one day I saw this dude jumping around in a one piece yellow suit with some, black pinstriping down the side. And he was flailing these things. And I said, man, what are those? And then this other guy comes out with some sticks and, they get into it. And that was just a really memorable thing for me as a child. And then after it started building off of that, then the Karate Kid movies came out and stuff like that. And then finally getting bullied the last time, my family was like, let's go ahead and sign you up for martial arts. So started my journey in the mid 80s and started in Taekwondo actually. And trained under a guy named Grandmaster Chung. It was in Jacksonville, Florida. And that's what got me into it. And I trained there for a couple of years. And then I came out and we ran across this other martial arts school that primarily was a weapons school. They had a little weapons shop. And the first time I'd ever gone to a weapons shop like this, it was amazing. It was awesome. But they had these different things on the shelf that were like pro chucks, or they were called pro chucks, but they were nunchaku, basically just an evolved version of it. And I was like, wait a minute, I've always wanted to learn these things. And I was like, what are those? And before I could even say anything, this guy steps around with this big smile on his face and he pulls them off and he goes, these are pro chucks. And he starts swinging them around. And I'm like, this guy's doing Bruce Lee moves right in front of me, but they were crazy. He was like tossing them behind his head, catching them and all this other stuff. And I was like, I want to do that. So I trained with that man for a really, really long time, and he ended up getting me into a lot of different martial arts. I've worked with instructors under Guru Dan Asano. I've done some seminars with Guru Dan Asano, Paul Vunak. Um, anybody that I'm a big believer in obtaining knowledge, and that's one of my things. Is I'm a information sponge. I want to learn as much as I can with the time that I've got here. So I love learning martial arts. Everything has a value, and you just gotta. The more you learn, the more you learn, the more you know that you don't know so much. I just learn more and more every day, and I'm just like, I don't even know that much anymore. You know, it's one of those things. I think that's when you really start to enjoy your martial arts journey, is when it becomes that for you, because it's been a lot of different things through the past. So,
Gotcha,
but
gotcha. So with that that first Taekwondo school, do you happen to know, was it a WT or was it ITF or was it
I
something?
do not remember. I know that I was actually trying to find out some information about it because I just now had recent time to go back and just check on some instructors and everything. I do not remember what that was under, but I know that I believe he was a bodyguard for the Korean president or something at some point. And I mean, he was pretty good. He knew his stuff, and but I do not remember that. It was so long ago. Um, and then so yeah, I don't really remember, but I am trying to track that down. But I remember his name was Grandmaster William Chung. He was from Jacksonville, Florida. He had a he had a school off of University Boulevard,
Okay.
and that was a pretty cool time. It was neat. That was my first introduction to a hands-on martial arts experience.
Gotcha, gotcha. Very nice. So now the school with the Pro Chucks, was that a particular system or kind of what?
Yeah, it was it went even further. There's art side to it. It was called the Lissajous. It was based off of Antoine Lissajous' findings. He was a French physicist. He discovered that sound traveled in patterns. He took two tuning forks, chimed them, held them together right angle over a body of water, and all these ripples and frequencies started going through the water. And that's when he discovered what we call Lissajous circles. And basically, if you've ever seen a YouTube video of where they put a piece of plexiglass or they put a piece of steel or something over a speaker and they'll pour sand and they turn the frequencies, those frequencies start doing different shapes and ratios, and those ratios applied to movement. So basically, everything was just built off of a circle from this, and so this these pro chucks were basically of the nunchaku, but to give you something like a kali stick, but with a momentary rhythmic break in it. So when you train to movement, you're whipping these things around like kali sticks, but they're broken in the middle by a 1-inch 4-tie cord. Um, so through the years, the more and more I've discovered, it wasn't just a weapon. It became a training tool because now I'm learning how to do chi sao with one person because I hadn't trained, you know, it's hard to find people that can train chi sao and stuff like that, rolling, doing stuff like that. And when you get someone up to it, then you move or something, and then you got to teach someone else, and it takes a while. So, but that was something that I noticed was there, and it was a lot of people were still calling it a weapon, but it could be a weapon. Anything could be a weapon. A water bottle could be a weapon, but to label something as just one thing that can do a lot, that was a lot because we can recreate these patterns. We do these shows in black light for the art side of our martial arts, and we do them in music, just to be able to give you a visual representation of what sound looks like, because it leaves trails, it leaves patterns. But then now that you've learned this circle, everything from there will work just as well. It boils down to kali and knife, and you can add all these things. It doesn't matter what you have in your hand. It's an extension of the hand. If you've learned the ratios, then the flow comes out, and then just goes from there. So if I ramble too much, remind
No,
me.
like I said,
But
rambling is very, very welcome here. And no, I was so I'm curious. So, what would you consider is the primary art that you train? I would assume it would be JKD, but I guess you tell me.
there's so much. I don't know. The more, like I said, the more you learn, you didn't know that much. And the more I get into my martial arts journey, I'm sort of evolving. I stay evolving. I have to. My body's different every day. Things like that. Train every day 8 hours. Some days you can't. So you've got to learn to evolve through these situations and do all that. And I think that basically what I've built martial arts off of is I love knowledge. There's one reason why I train martial arts because it's also interesting to me. I love learning about different cultures and the way the tribes and all these people defended their countries or their people. And I mean, there's much out there to learn, but I applied everything that I've learned from everybody as a tool belt, maybe. I don't know, like sort of like Batman's belt. You got a little bit of Wing Chun here, and you got some Thai boxing, and because I think with that flow system, learning how to flow with weapons like that, it taught me a lot of different things about martial arts. The fact that these things weave so well together. It's like one of my best friends. He emphasizes this. Pedro Rodriguez. He's a good Hapkido guy, awesome guy. Uh, he mentioned something about you've got to blend these things, and blending stuff. When you can do that, man, then this flow starts happening, and it's wild. And so I don't know. I love the arts. I can't say anything bad about any arts. I think I've learned something from every art that I've ever trained in, and I'm still continuing to train until the day I can't train anymore. I want to be a lifelong martial artist like Guru Dan Inosanto is one of my, inspirations. He's 89 years old and still going. I mean, his movement is beautiful. Man, I hope to be moving that good at 89. You know, that's
Oh yeah,
it's,
for sure,
that's a
for sure.
beautiful thing about martial arts.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. You got to keep moving, keep training, and there's no reason to stop. The learning and the experiencing
Yeah.
never stops. So yeah, I just got to keep moving, keep working, and keep it going. So with all the different systems that you've been exposed to, is there a system that you haven't yet got to train in that you would like to, or what's the next one that's you've got your eye on? Or
I've I want to do a lot more. I want to get some more BJJ. I haven't had enough time with that. Um, I love to do a lot. There's a lot more. There's so much more I want to do. I'd love to learn some Valenta walk stuff. They're sort of like Chun to me in trapping range. It's wild stuff. The reflexes that they have. That man's hands are phased. You know, things like that. It's one of the that just popped in my head that we were talking about earlier. The whole flowing everything together. I'm sorry, ADD brain.
no,
But this
no,
just
it's all
popped
good.
back up to me.
It's all good.
So the thing I was trying to say earlier, and this triggered something when it just came up in my mind. When we were talking about how you get everything to start flowing together, right? There is you got to train this is something that's really important about that I forgot to bring up earlier. I'm sorry. Train with music, because once you start doing weaponry with music, if you do a Kali drill, Hubud, something like that, you need to have some kind of music playing in the background to ride off that rhythm, and you need to learn how to break rhythm and all that stuff. And that was a big part of the flow thing about that, because music and training, I think that's something you've got to integrate.
No, I can definitely relate to that. As being a capoeirista, music is a huge part of capoeira. It's just as important as doing the movements, learning the history, the being able to uh, communicate with the music, feel the music, let the music guide and support your movements. I think is definitely huge. And I am one of the people that I agree. I think that it can certainly help with your training in other arts. There may be a number of traditionalists out there that are not exactly a fan of playing music while you're training or anything like that. But and that's fine. Everyone has their own opinion, but
Yeah.
I do think that having the music, or at least integrating it with your training, is good, and experimenting with different types of music and different types of movement, I think could be and probably should be integrated into training, martial arts training, probably more than it normally is. So there's thinking outside of the box and working outside of kind of the normal constraints of training. I think is an important area to at least explore. Maybe you don't have to do it 100% of the time, but I think never doing it,
Mm,
you're kind of cheating yourself out of some of
exactly. Yeah.
some potential gains there. So yeah, I'm right there with you on that. So let's take it back to the pro chucks. So um, I feel like I feel like I saw advertisements and things for those in the black belt magazines and stuff back in the day, but
Years and
yeah.
years ago, yeah, there was my teacher's teacher. He's the one that came up with the system, and that's where the blacklight stuff started coming from. He had a Pink Floyd poster. He put on some Pro Chucks and started swinging them around, and they started creating those ratios. And from there, it was years and years of us doing that stuff. My teacher, Master Lee Barden, he was.
Yeah, I think we may have a connection hiccup here. We'll give it a second and see if we still got you there. That is that's what happens when we go live. Sometimes we can run into problems here, but say this gives me a chance to kind of figure this figure out how this streaming stuff works. So we'll sit tight here for a little bit, and hopefully we can get Mr. Lee back on. So. There we
There
go.
we go.
I think we got you back there. All right. Let's see here. Let me go back.
We had an internet outage.
That's the risk that we have to take. But
I know, right?
got a little echo there. Let's see if we can fix that. Oh wait, nope, never mind. Sorry, that was me. I had the stream pulled up on another screen, so that was my bad. All right, let's see here. Let's jump back to it. So with the Pro Chuck, we were talking about the Pro Chuck. So I guess maybe you can explain how they are different. I would assume that they are quite a bit different than your typical, or maybe not typical, traditional nunchucks.
Yeah,
So,
they're, as you can see, they got a shorter cord. The shorter cord basically cuts down your reaction time for striking. The pin balance right here, if you release that, it's balanced right here, just to where, basically normally chucks would go down to here. The chains would be longer, but your hands pretty much meet in between this point right here, which is your balance point. And then weight match each one of them. They got to be within a gram of each other. I'm not putting them together. Certain things like that. And then that matters because when you're doing things, there's functional things that you can do. There's so much you can do. There's hand-eye coordination drills. There's so much things. We do some crazy stuff just for the flail of it, just the finger rolls, the thumb rolls, the throws, all that other stuff. That gets your action times up and adds with line familiarization from, it's going over here, you're catching it here, things like that. But there's so many benefits because basically it's sort of like a zen. It's you just get in there. There's, you could go into the nature and just go down by the waterfall. And took my chucks out the other day and I was just sitting there just listening to nature just flowing. And it's like I said, you got to learn how to you get that motion going, and then all of a sudden you learn how to start adding those little chaotic whips around, and then it becomes like a whip. So then you're working these fast twitch fibers at different angles. And one of the things that runs me into was one of the things I noticed about my teacher that really stood out for me with Lee's hands were the fact that he was doing all these chuck moves without chucks in his hands. And it was like boxing. And I was like, wow, that there's crazy trapping and just little ratios he was doing with his hands and all this other stuff. And it would just get through anything you just put out at him. I was like, that's really cool. That's really neat. And it was the most spastic thing ever. And it was crazy because when you saw his hands flying around, he was doing all the chuck moves, but the chucks weren't there. And it was like this chaotic symphony of like, hey, look here, boom, boom, boom. And he's just hitting you 3 or 4 times. And I was like, where did you get it? He goes, you're doing chucks. And I said, yeah. He goes, well, you'll get it. I was like, what do you mean? He'd always do that stuff. He'd always have that, just leave that last little bit for you to have to find out. And so, yeah, that was, so there's so much to it besides that. Like I said, sometimes I'll turn on drum beats. I'll turn on a song. Because I like to do rhythmic training with it, because that's going to help you from going to your flow into, snapping into that fast twitch, and finding, a certain part of the drum that you're going to play with. He actually set up a drum set in the corner of the wood shop one time and played drums with these things. It was the most wild thing I ever had. And I regret that I never, that's the bad thing about technology today, is it takes away from the moment. But back then we were so in the moment, there was no recordings of this stuff. And, it's all memories for me, but it was the most amazing stuff I'd ever seen. And so you learn, there's just so much. It's like such a big tool. And like I said, you're also getting feedback from it, just from the centrifugal force that's going around, because it's like a pendulum. You can transfer energy from one end of this stick into the other straight through a board and it will break it. And we actually spar with these things, and we'll do the dart move, what we call a dart, where it's like throwing a dart, and literally just you'll have a little octagon bruise on you. But that's when we're having fun with each other. But it's got that much control, and it can also be closed up really quickly to be used as like a Kubotan style stick, or and then you can we even grapple with it, you know what I mean? It's just a tool. It's something that flails but also can be stationary, and I can use it for grappling or locking or any of this stuff, and it's just fun. It's a fidget spinner for martial artists.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. That's interesting. I think that's the first time I've heard of sparring with those. So that that's got to be something interesting to see and to experience. So uh,
Yeah, they sting. They sting. They do. They don't look like much, but it's because they're just quick and precise. It's just, it hurts. It hurts. All weapon fighting hurts, man. But I love that because it keeps you alive. Because one thing, once you get used to it, I mean, we don't go in and we don't beat students with full on weapons. We got a couple of my friends, we're hardcore. We'll go in there and play with weapons fully. I don't recommend anybody doing it, but we've been doing it since we were kids. You know what I mean? We were reckless kids, and now we're in our 40s, meeting up out in his barn, beating each other senseless with pro chucks and bragging about who's got the most bruises, but it was just a fun thing we've been doing since we were kids. And but I believe, that you do need some sort of weapon sparring. I don't, like I said, it don't have to be full pad, whatever, but wear pads, do whatever, because when you're moving away from a stick, man, that makes you a lot quicker. That's when you start like appreciating like footwork from like basketball and stuff like that. That's some good footwork if you got some weapons swinging around at you. So, but I don't know.
yeah,
There's
that was
just,
going to be the thing that I was going to ask. So you wear protective gear and stuff when you spar, or just
yeah, like I said, me and my couple of my friends, we don't, because we go hard enough, but we have been doing it since we were like, I was 9 and he was 11. So like we've been doing it this many years, and we've gotten the control down, but we also will whack each other. Everybody else I recommend. I'm not gonna tell a guy that's got to work 9 to 5 tomorrow, hey man, we're gonna go in there and bash each other with some sticks, or something like that, because people got to function. But there are ways. There's a lot of people out there to say, no, that doesn't work because you've got to do it fully. No, you just need, pretty much what you need is you need a safe environment. Okay. You need safety, and you need functionality, and you need resistance. Functionality, safety, and resistance. And it, everything will come together. And you need your techniques. You need to learn them, master them, all that good stuff. And once you functionalize them, that's the biggest part. Then you maintain it. And I don't know. I think the Pro Chucks things was just something that caught my eye and became so much more than I ever thought it was. So
gotcha, gotcha. So since these are unique as compared to maybe a traditional nunchucks, I'm assuming, did you do any kind of competitions with that? Get into any kind of demonstrations, or was it more for functional rather than fashion?
I tried I tried the whole going to tournaments thing as a kid, and I just, as a child, I had some sensory issues, stuff like that, and like Asperger's, autism, high functioning autism. So a lot of those things were a little. I sort of didn't like being in crowds or like talking to people back in that day. I was still in martial arts, but I had found my thing. It was the chucks, and a lot of the time back then, some people just there was a lot of people that just said those are not weapons and this, that, the other. And I don't know, as a kid, I just didn't feel like I had to sit there and argue with somebody I wanted to do what made me happy. And I went and I would turn on the black lights when I would get out of the martial arts school after I go train. We'd go in there and we'd go train. We'd go spin around chucks. I do have a couple of footage from '93 when we were in there as kids spinning chucks around while everybody was fighting in the background. And then we'd go have sparring night after class. And then when he'd get home, I'd turn the black lights on, turn some music on, and I'd go in my room and flow. And, so it was, so it's always, it's a big part of me. And that's one of the biggest parts that stuck with me so far. So I still have a long way to go. I just feel like a white belt in this world.
Yeah, I think
What I am.
I think if we're honest with ourselves, I think we all have that white belt mentality, white belt feeling. Uh, as I've said with other guests, I even though I've been training for quite a number of years now, I still have the imposter syndrome and feel like okay, maybe I don't know as much as I do, and I mean I fully understand that I still have a long way to go, and there's you can't possibly learn it all in one lifetime or many lifetimes, but
I know that's the
but
sad part about it. It's like there's so little time, so little time, but it's like I said, I'm gonna start going as much as I can. I need to learn more about Kenpo. I'm gonna have to hit you up and get some more insight and everything. Like I said, I just want to learn as many arts as I can and just keep going because I believe that like I said, there's so many people that are active in martial arts that are just still healthy and still doing well into their old age, and it's got to be good for you. It has to be. I know it's good for me. It's good stress relief.
oh, for sure, 100%, 100%. So let's go over to the teaching side. Are you doing or have you done any teaching? Is there any aspirations for that if you're not currently doing that?
Yeah, I we just recently moved into the rural mountains. That's why my internet went down a little while ago. We don't even have a phone signal out here. But so we got so basically here I'm working on getting everything back together. We're working on getting the online school going back again because this is an art that I believe needs just to be heard. Just not. I'm not saying I'm not saying anything is the truth or anything is this or that. I hold value in everything, but I believe it's something that needs to be looked at because it has opened not only a wider view on how I took my taekwondo kicks or how I took a savate kick and did it this way, and then I started realizing that this stuff, this physics stuff, I mean, there's only so many ways you can break a wrist or an ankle. All the limbs up and down the leg, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just reversed. The arms this way, the legs that way. You know, ankle, wrist. It's so I sort of took that away from it and I started, like I said, I still want to learn the arts because I want to know where everything came from, but I'm also using the logic you know, uh of the martial arts I've already learned. So I'm just being respectful to everything, man, because I think that too many people got an ego about this is better or that is better, or you shouldn't do it this way or shouldn't do it that way. And I believe that there's 1.5 million different ways or people that are going to fight differently. You know what I mean? How many million people are in the world? And you mean to tell me everybody's going to be able to do that same technique just as good? Somebody's not going to be able to get that posture out as quick or do this or do that. The structure that you got to learn to evolve. I've had things that I was really good at because of timing didn't work. So I had to evolve in that situation. So that's what I just want to do and just take it all in and evolve, keep going.
Exactly. Yeah, I think you would. I think you'd be right at home in Kempo. It's been famous. famously, sorry folks, it's late.
Yeah.
It's late for me,
That's
but
why I'm drinking caffeine, man.
famously, it has been said about Kempo in that the father of American Kempo, Ed Parker, uh,
Yes.
uh, it was asked of him at one point uh, if it wasn't called Kempo, like what would you call it? And uh, he he said it should be called Logic. And there's a lot of principles and concepts and those sorts of things in Kempo, and it's not locked down in tradition. It's more about practical and critical thinking and logical thinking. We're not doing a technique or movement or anything just to do it.
Mhm.
There's a reason behind everything that we do, and I think you would really appreciate a lot of the logic and the principles and concepts of movement that are in the art. So yeah, we definitely need to get
Oh
you
yeah.
connected with some of the greats and
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
get you
because
some
I
learning.
I've seen some of the movements, man. The videos, and it's flow. It's the hand flow is amazing. It is. It's like people. I see there's people in every comment section and everybody on it. It wouldn't be Facebook or Instagram or anything of that nature without it, right? There's got to be those people out there that are internet warriors. And I'm just saying, man, if y'all really take some of those hits, they're not going to feel that good. You know what I mean? And it's everybody's like, look, it's a dance. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Philippines, they had to, take their sticks and make it a dance. It was a blade art at one point, and when the Spanish invaded, that was over. They had to look like a dance at that point. And it's like, maybe some of these dances are dangerous, So, but yeah, I laugh at all that stuff, man. The internet is just the guys in the comments. Those are the guys you got to learn from, right?
Yeah, and unfortunately, just like with anything, there's good and there's bad, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, on social media, there are a lot of the keyboard warriors and
Yes.
people that say things or they see things. Well, one, it's context is very important, and seeing a little not even 30-second clip of someone doing a move or a technique or something like that, and yeah, the comment section all they get themselves worked up over, oh well, this wouldn't work, or I could do that better, or this. And yeah, it's easy to say that, but to do it is another
Yep.
thing. And seeing a movement without the full picture, the full story, uh, yeah, you could be speaking about things without the full understanding, no art is immune to that. I mean, just in my training, I mean, in capoeira, there's a lot of uh, the I would say the general public that is exposed to it, they just kind of like you mentioned that they just see it as a dance,
Hmm.
and that's that's kind of part of the point. But until you actually start training that, you don't realize all the parts to it. I mean,
Hmm.
even when I started with it, I didn't realize how much more technique and strategy, and it's not just kicks and flips and things like that. There's lots of hand techniques. There's lots of takedowns. There's lots of other items, but you don't see that. You see a video game or whatever movie where they're just showing off
Hmm.
one side of it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there you get the keyboard warriors and all that stuff that's talking nonsense without knowing. And yeah,
Uh-huh.
until you're actually exposed to it yourself, you're not really in a place to speak on those things. So
Yeah.
have to let those things slide off your back and not
Yep.
pay attention to the
Uh-huh.
nonsense. So
Yeah, I always tell them too. It's like, hey man, I always say thank you for the comment. You just boosted the algorithm. It's even though it was negatives. So I told some people, it's like, man, you just gotta let them say what they're gonna say. You know what I mean? Everybody's got an opinion, and just let them have it. I'm not here at this point in life to argue with anybody. I just want to, like I said, want to learn as much as I can, and just keep going as long as I can. And that's the whole goal with this. And so. But yeah,
gotcha.
we're working on the teaching part, getting everything back to going. And I got a online seminar coming up in a couple of weeks that we're getting back to, and we're working on building I've got a instructor out in Minnesota. We're gonna start planning some more things and just getting trying to get this out to more people, because like I said, it's not something that I believe is the holy grail or whatever, but man, it's something you got to check out. That's it. Now, I'm not trying to sell anything. I just feel like, hey man, an experience. That's what it all is. It's all a different experience. It's all amazing. So
No, that's one of the things that I do this show for is I think it's important for us to spread the ideas, spread the knowledge, spread the connection, and yeah, it doesn't have to be just Kempo or just whatever style or anything like that. All every style, every system has something to offer. Everybody has something to offer, a story or training or something, an idea to share, and we can all learn from each other, and we don't need to have this uh infighting about, oh well, this would work and that wouldn't work, and
mhm.
no, it's all about let's share the ideas and grow and learn from each other. Not any one art out there has everything, and
Mhm.
not every person is looking for everything. Not every person wants to be the greatest fighter or
Yep.
whatever. Some people don't, some people just want the health benefits or the community or the mental aspect, or
Yep.
whatever kind of thing that somebody's looking for. If we're not out there sharing the ideas and spreading the information, then we're just kind of cheating ourselves of the experiences. So to have the open heart and open mind to be able to uh, share these ideas and things is I think pretty important. So
I agree with you because man, it's there's such a divide in martial arts, unfortunately, and it's everywhere. It's bad in the JKD community. I'm gonna have so many people get mad at me about that one, but it is, man. It's like, why are we all fighting? Really? Or didn't high school end like, I don't know, like 20 something years ago? I'm not gonna even think if it was 30. Okay, so don't get me there. But come on, guys. Really? I've got lineage back to some cool people, and I got some cool stories, and you've got cool stories, and you've got some cool things you can teach, and this person can do that. Why aren't we all working together? Because I know that if somebody wants to go further in something that I've blended together, I'm just teaching basically, you know, to this point. Now, if you want to go sit there and you want to get the whole history on Muay Thai, go ahead. Go find you a Muay Thai instructor. Here, this guy right here. He's really good. Oh, you want to do this? Well, why don't you go over here to this guy? And I think that's the way martial arts should be, because there's no one guy out there that's just great for every situation. You know,
oh yeah,
there are
for
a
sure.
lot of good people out there. There are, but there's that one time that if I'd have had that in my tool belt, I wouldn't have got knocked out that time.
Exactly. Yeah, there's always someone better. So if you think that you're the best and you
Mm-hmm.
can beat everybody, just know that
Yep.
you're wrong. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
Very nice.
you'd be surprised, man. There was back in the 80s, my teacher had a guy come in and said that he just wanted to spar him, and the guy was like very mysterious and didn't really say anything. And he's like, "All right, let's go." So he goes, "You need gloves?" The guy goes, "No, I don't need any gloves." He goes and gets down on the floor like a crab, man, and just sits there. And my teacher's like, "All right, you ready?" He's like, "Stretching." He goes, "No, let's go, fight." Boom. He said, "I don't know what that dude did, but he messed me up." And then I got up and was like, "Whoa, dude, what was that?" And he's like, "See you later." And he walked out, never saw this dude again. And that was part of the whole, he's like, "Got to watch out, man," because it did not. Dude's walking around, crawling around like a crab, and he just handed the best, butt whooping to me that I've had lately, and I did not expect that. And never saw him again. It was funny. I wish we could track him down. I'd love to know what that was. I'd love to hear that story and where it came from and everything. It'd be great. But
Nice.
yeah, just got to be prepared for everything, man. So,
Gotcha.
and I,
Gotcha. So something that I've been asking my guest is, since there isn't a standard, a universal standard for what makes a black belt, or I guess I should uh, add in the equivalent black belt equivalent. I've been asking my guests in their own mind what makes someone worthy of a black belt. What does it take to earn a black belt? What does it uh, after you've achieved that level? What does it mean to continue to uphold the worthiness for that? Now there obviously isn't any kind of right or wrong answers to this. This is all personal to each person. But yeah, I kind of want to get this collection of ideas and I don't know, maybe kind of triangulate on what the hive mind, the kind of what most people think. So kind of in just your own thought processes, what does it mean to be a black belt or to achieve one in through training?
oh man. So, so in the sense of getting certification and all that, what does it mean to me?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, there's a lot that I could delve into. One of the biggest things for me becoming a black belt was being able to carry on my teachers, my teachings that the teachers gave me, the knowledge, and basically preserve the things that I'd been taught, just like just like you would preserve Jun Fan Gung Fu and teach people that as Bruce Lee. That's that was before the whole JKD thing. Okay, so um, but being able to push a piece of history forward like that, that's a very important thing. Now it's also a big, it's a big weight to carry because I'm, carrying this man's art forward. That was such a big part of martial arts. And then here we go. I'm also carrying Lee's that was the pro chucks and all that. And I'm pushing that forward now. And, you know, there's a lot of weight to that too, because you sit there and wonder, like, did I do it good enough? And then but then there's at first when I'd say when I first started getting my rank and all that stuff, you're the ego was a little bit high, unfortunately. But but I had some good teachers that knocked my ego back down. And then that's when I really started to learn things, was that because you go through phases in martial arts. I believe a lot of people join it and then they end up getting an ego over it because they earned a rank and stuff like that. And then you see a lot of it, fighting back and forth between students and stuff over rank and a lot of these systems and stuff like that. And it's just sad. But not only just carrying the stuff forward, but I think to me, for a black belt, to be earned. I felt most proud when I did the most work for it. Uh, it was hard work getting my black belt under Lee, hard, and because I knew why. You know, I knew that he wanted to make sure that it was what he would want. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of that in the martial arts. A lot of people. It makes me sad to see some of these people just go get a black belt and quit. You know what I mean? That's
Oh yeah,
that's
for sure.
you know, it's disheartening because I've been at it for so long. You know, I don't like if I get a rank or something, that's excitement for me. That was excitement 20 years ago was because yeah, man, I got a certificate and this, that, the other. But nowadays it's just like when I get handed that, I just got the right to carry a piece of history forward. So being able to look at it like that, the hard work and never giving up. I mean, up until the past couple years when my little boy came along, he's got some special needs and stuff like that, but I had to taper off a bit. We had to move to a more rural life so I could be around for him more. But now the cool thing is he's getting old enough to start doing this, and he's somehow knows grappling. I don't know, man. He knows it. He's 3.5, and he's got a good hook, and it makes me the part of having a black belt knows that one day someone like that that's already into it so well, he's going to be able to carry a piece forward. And for me obtaining the black belts, I hope I did my teachers justice. That's all I can think. But to me, it's more about carrying legacies forward, keeping preserving things as they should be. And then I think also you should have a version that you've mixed together yourself to put out there. You know, why not throw a little bit more flavor out there for people in the world? You know, there could be something different there. I don't teach the same as everybody else does. I'm a way different teacher than every other JKD teacher out there. Every other JKD teacher is a different teacher. You know what I mean? And they're even in Taekwondo and this, that, the other. That's what I'm saying. That learn from as many people as you can. Take in what you can. Use what is for you, yourself, because you're an individual, and then you just blend it together, and then you get in the flow state, and then the flow state becomes chaotic when you need it to, and that was so black belt's a lot, man. I could go on for hours about being the meaning of black belt and stuff like that, and hopefully it makes sense to somebody, but that's the way I see it. It's just it's a badge to be able to carry a piece of something forward, and it's an honorable thing. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, I see. I'm picking up what you're putting down, and I like it. So yeah, thank you. Well said. All right, so we are
Thank you.
going to move into what I call our lightning round here. I got a few little questions for you as we head towards wrapping up our time for tonight.
All right.
So the first question being, do you have a favorite technique?
My go-to, uh, yeah, I Pak Sao in sparring because a lot of people said it would not happen. I'm a very big person on that. I believe, like I said from that story earlier, that when that guy got down, walked around as a crab and whooped his butt, that was a totally different thing, and that was something that should have never worked. Should have never worked. Won't work with me. Wouldn't work with my teacher. Wouldn't work with this person. So, but I like Pak Sawing during sparring because it catches people off guard because not enough people do it. You know, I love trapping. I'm a trapping maniac. I love it. I love getting on the Mook Jong and just getting lost for hours. And that's also, you can create music with a Mook Jong. You have to you got to be able to make certain clicks and sounds and beats and stuff like that when you're moving your arms around and hun sound stuff like that to be able to have the structure, because that clicking sound lets you know that you have the structure and the angle and all that stuff. But that's a whole different subject. But Yeah, I like Pak Sound, man, because it just surprises some people. So I did it so much when I was a kid because I was so into Paul Vunak when I was younger, man. He came to our school, did the seminar, and that's when we all started training the JKD stuff. And so he had these lightning fast hands, man. I saw him use that in sparring, and I was like, I want to be that good at it. And man, I swear I've poxed out on the dummy more than anything for years, man. And I love it. But it's it's that's one of my favorite things. That's for fun. For fun. I picked that one for fun. I've got a lot of favorites, but for certain ones. But I think that one's a fun one to get. Somebody needs to find something that you just wouldn't ever think would work and see if you can get it to work. And hey, it's cool to do, man. It's research and development of martial arts. I mean, you gotta that not I just love doing that because there's those guys out there on the internet that say it doesn't work. So
Exactly. Exactly. Very nice. Very nice. All right. I think I know the answer to this next question, but let's see. I've been surprised before. So, next question is do you have a favorite weapon?
knife. Well, okay. Because that's what you carry on you all the time, especially out here where it's rural. Man, I could get. I'm sitting out. I'm sitting out here because before I called you, I was listening to the waterfall in my car out in the yard. So but I'm staying warm because we're just ice and snow everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, so, uh, so, hold on, city. So, so the knife basically is the same as the Pro Chucks. It's the same movement. What you call the wand is the part you hold. This is the flailing part. Okay, that's the chuck. So the wand is basically we're just doing knife work too, but we're doing it in ratios. So everything's done out of a circle. Um, and for a weapon, yeah, knife, because I think that pro chucks they are they could be a weapon too, but they're really not. It's a training tool. Yeah, I like I said, I spar with them. I've broken you can break boards with them, do stuff like that, and they're quick, man. But as a weapon, yeah, something that I keep on me a knife because that's the most versatile thing. You're not always gonna, especially in a house environment, because I don't want to shoot my kids in the next room with my shotgun if someone blasts in, or I'm too afraid of where my kids are going to be with a knife. With a knife, I'm controlled. And it doesn't take much room. You could fight someone with a knife in a telephone booth. You know, so I think that that's a practical thing. And I'm not telling all the gun people or anything like that. I love guns. I love every weapon. I love that everything has a purpose. Okay. I was checking out a spear today at the knife store and I was like, I'm going to buy that 4-foot spear. Why not? We have bears around, you know. What happens if I drop my gun or something or it jams and this bear's still coming at me? I still got that big 4-foot spear with me, you know. But I think everything has a purpose, and but a purpose for what I would say safety. I think a knife is pretty good for environments like that. Now, there's some environments you get into where a collapsible baton is amazing. That can defang a knife. That 90% of things could be disarmed with a stick. I could be wrong, but that was my view because that's what we've been testing all these years. So, you know, because I mean, it's length and it's non lethal, uh, stuff like that. I would never just pull a gun on a drunk dude, if he pulled a knife. I mean, no, there's different situations. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But my setting for this story is, Uncle Bob came out and got drunk at the party or whatever, and he needed to be removed. We're not going to pull a gun out on the guy. If he's really like falling all over and pulls his pocket knife open and doesn't have the knife open all the way, you're going to shoot him. No. You would whack his hand with a stick, drop that thing, and then beat him into submission, pull him out in the yard, and call the cops. But I'm just saying, like, there's a million different scenarios, and none of them are wrong. It's just, man, really, it all boils down to timing and all that good stuff, and his time on your side. Nothing's foolproof. ever.
Hmm. Hmm.
The
No,
more I
no,
learn,
I agree.
the less I know, right?
Mhm. Mhm. No, I agree. And when you mentioning the gun thing, it just reminded me of a very famous video clip that uh, uh, featured the previously mentioned Danny Inosanto
Yes.
and him closing the distance on whatever security guards, cops trying to pull their
Mhm.
gun, and he's across the room and he was able to reach them and cut him with his knife before they could pull their gun. And yeah, there's going to be all these people out there. They're like, oh no, I'll just shoot him before they.
Yeah.
He showed over and over again. I forget. I'm probably going to
Yeah. Guru
butcher it.
Dan was,
Sorry, internet, but I think it's like the 21 foot rule or something like that. You
yeah,
can,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
catch.
he
You
could
can
close the
catch him
gap in
in.
21 feet before he could
Yeah.
even draw. And
Hmm. Yeah.
it's and that okay, so he was like he was fast. I mean, he was like I think he was a track star or something like that. I've got to go back through. I'm one of those people that I like to bring in so much knowledge that I slowly filter it back out. So for me to go and review something, but I know he was fast. And
Oh yeah.
but man, there's some people out there that are on drugs that are quick, even faster than that. And it's not, yeah, I feel much safer with a collapsible baton in my pocket because of the fact that if someone were to go running at you with a knife, I'm not saying that you can just go buy a collapsible baton and defang someone with a knife. No, you've got to put in hours upon hours of doing this stuff correctly. And that's the point of it because I'm doing that because I don't want to be in that situation. If I ever am in that situation, I want calm. So I want it to feel like a drill to me. So we just drill it and drill stuff like that. And I don't know, man. I think guns should be there for a reason, but I think people are too quick to draw them. And I think a lot of things could be de-escalated with popping someone in the mouth with a metal stick over, shooting their face off, or you know, it, I came from Jacksonville, Florida, dude. There's shootings every day there, and
Mm.
that's scary. That's one of the reasons why we got our family out of there because I just didn't want my kids getting shot. But
Yeah.
but in those situations, man, it is. He was very fast, and just imagine someone just on some drug that just supercharges them. It's going to be even faster. And so distance is your best friend. Distance, timing, and time being on your side. That's all.
Exactly. All right. So then the next question is, if there's anyone you could train with, living or dead, fictional or non-fictional, who would that be?
I have an hour to think. Oh man. Okay. I've got to pick. Okay, so I want to train with a lot of people. A lot. Uh but everybody has a different reason and a purpose of the reason why I would. Um I
We'll give you one for now, and we'll have you back on. You can pick another one.
I think truthfully, I think I would love to have done rolling Chisao with Bruce Lee because I've been in martial arts at that point where I've learned that I think that you can give out so much to a student and they can feed you back good stuff. But I think when you go someone who is way beyond your level and you get to feel their energy, that right there is an experience. And I would love to experience that alone because they said he was so fast. I mean, Guru Dan, the stories that he has had. Sifu Paul Vunak told me that he loved Muay Thai before he was big into Muay Thai before he passed away. And man, oh, I would just love to see where his martial art would have been today. You know what I mean? It would have been amazing. And I don't know. I think that would have been an experience. But man, there's so many other people I would love to do it with too. Just so many. And
For sure.
that was
For
a hard one. That was a hard one to answer, but
sure.
he was the reason why my martial arts journey started. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that would be a cool experience.
Yeah. No, I like it. I like a good answer. All right. So we are at our final piece of business for tonight, and that is the shameless self promotion. So you can plug anything that you want, or if there's anything that we hadn't covered that you wanted to say, now is your time. You have the floor, and then we'll close out from there.
All right. Well, I've got a seminar coming up in a couple weeks online, Zoom. You can check it out on my website, nextleveljkd.com. Like I said, we're going to be doing a Pro Chuck seminar, but it doesn't just pertain to Pro Chucks. We're going to show you everything, how it evolves from anything that fits in your hand all the way up until, empty hand. We're going to be just covering some, it's going to be about an hour and a half seminar and then about 30-minute Q&A for people. And we're just going to be showing you some things that you could use with your martial art or your weapon. It doesn't have to be Pro Chucks. It doesn't have to, it's not biased towards anything. This is basically a flow seminar, but we're using the tool that helps project that. And but yeah, also I do want to just remind people, man, to keep kids safe, man. Keep kids safe, because I've been one thing that I quickly want to go over is we uh we help with the pedophile fight in America. We used to, before we moved up here and everything, we used to have we helped some people intercept a lot of these people. And one thing we need to do, man, is we need to start getting, I'm working on in the future getting a program together and try and get it in every city in the United States, because our children need to be safe. There's a big thing with human trafficking going on in our country. And truthfully, man, 9 to 11 minutes is the national 911 response time. Do you think a child has to be put through 9 to 11 minutes of torture like that to wait? We can't. We got to intercept. And that's one of the big things I want to push forward is, if you have a way to help out in a community for your children, remember, man, they're the future generation of us. And some of them out there, man, they can't even afford martial arts. So I'm just trying to get something. We want to get something going. And I know it's going to takes a village, you know, and there's a pretty big village of martial artists out there. And even if we can't agree on one thing, I think we could all agree on helping some children out. So that's one thing I want to, that's one of my most important things. I'm not here for money. I'm not here for any of that. I'm here because, I'm also a child advocate.
Yeah.
And I
No,
think that they need a safer world to be in.
no, I agree. I agree 100%. 100%. All right. Well, that is going to do it for our time today. I
All
thank you
right.
so much for
Thanks for
being
having me
on
on,
with
bro.
me. Thanks for sharing your story. You have the welcome invitation to be back on anytime, and we can get into more items of your journey. I mean,
All right.
I had to resist a little bit talking too much about Mr. Volnak and Mr. Inosanto, but we'll have to have you on again so we can talk about your experiences with them. But yeah, once again, I just thank you for being
Awesome.
on, and looking forward to. Well, I guess it's already shared with the public since it's live. But
Since we did it live, right?
yeah, but I'm looking forward to sharing this out, and yeah, I just thank you again.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good one.
Dude.